Innocent and Vuyo, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
Thanks for joining me and giving me some of your time.
Thank you so much, Natasha.
Okay, so please just tell me a bit more. Tell me about your role at the GLF.
All right. So we'll be talking at the GLF, and we're excited because every time we get a chance to speak about Africa, we always get excited because we are changing people's perceptions, and that's all we ever believe in.
Great.
It's such a great opportunity to tell our story and how as African sharing our own story online and telling it changes the landscapes of where we are from, how it influences people to see the positive of 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 the world we come from.
Wonderful. Yes, so you can tell us your story then, because I've read a bit about it. Started in 2011. I see a different you, right? Just so tell us more about that.
Funny enough, I see a difference. You can say it started off with an image taken in Kenya. Funny enough.
Oh, really?
Yes, the streets of Nairobi. Yeah, in Nairobi.
Nice.
So we were our partner at the time. We were in South Africa, and
Hmm.
Innocent left with another partner of ours. They were in Kenya. When they're in Kenya, they sent this beautiful image of a guy who was on a bike, styling. It was so cool, stylish, just on his bike. The bora bora. Yeah, in a bora bora. And
Cool.
this image, and we're like, what? Are you sure that picture's taken in Kenya? And they're
Hmm.
like, yes, it's in Kenya. And we're like, yes, we thought Kenya was a village. And they're like, yes, it's villages, but there's still a city and there's cool people, there's everything. I'm like, yes, the media is not showing us enough of Kenya. They always show us like the bad, the starving children or the negativity. That's what the media shows of all of Africa. And we sat and thought to ourselves, if that's what we thought of Kenya, that means that's what everyone thinks of South Africa, the people that have never been, or Nigeria, or whichever African country it is, because we don't tell our own stories. And then we decided to tell our own story of where we come from with the South Africa, and we called it I See It Differently.
Amazing. Really, I've like goosebumps everywhere. I love it, really. Like changing the narrative. It's just us telling our own stories. And you've
Yes,
done this since 2011, right?
yes, yeah.
Okay, and tell me now the progress since then. What has been the story now when you're taking this into your own hands?
With us telling our own story, we then realized that the story was bigger than just where we're from. Obviously, if we had a perception about Kenya, there's more perceptions about the whole of Africa. People think Africa is just a village, you'll find an elephant behind the backyard, all of these things. We then wanted to showcase to the whole world that as Africans, we are also smart, tech savvy, metropolitan, talented, cool, all of those things. And being in advertising, we saw a gap. We saw a gap that there is need for African content for all retailers, for all stores, banks, and whatsoever. Because if you go online or if you go to banks and you see the imagery they've been using, it's only American-looking people, and it's never relevant to the people in the country that they are living in. So by seeing that gap, we then progressed. I see a different view from just a blog that is telling a story to a
Uh-huh.
production house that is changing the narrative and telling the story by creating content and imagery that is relevant to the consumer in the places that they are living in.
I read that, like I was looking at your website, and you guys are involved in all types of media, photography,
Yeah.
film, music, fashion. I mean, all. Could you tell me a bit more about that? Like how you managed to be, in all these. I guess they're sort of interconnected anyway.
So firstly, it was when we used to take pictures of ourselves with I see it different to you. People used to say, "You guys are dressed so nice. You guys are dressed so nice. You guys are stylish." And then we used to be like, "Okay, cool, thank you." And then we decided to make our own clothes, right, just for the shoot. And then we used to
Mm.
make our own clothes for the shoot, and everybody just loved it. And then when it comes to film, it's photography and film have always had that. They are brother and sister.
Right.
They work together. It's just one is moving and one is not. So a film is like most of the clients when we create content for them, they also want us to do film.
So we ended up moving into that space where we do photography and filming because it tells a better story when it's a movie and when it's got sound. So with sound
Yes.
is you normally go to a sound when you've shot a film and you've done all the sound. So now they need the music to play in the back. When they need the music to play in the back, we look for music, they don't find it. Eventually, like, let's make the music for you guys. We do the music, and then when they find it, then clients love it. And then when the clients love it, we take out the commercial, and when the commercial is out, or the video is out, the people are asking, whose song is that? And then from there, we're like, we made the song. And they're like, oh, you guys make music as well, send us the music. So that's why it ended up being such a whole big thing.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. It's like multimedia. Because even as a journalist, before everyone used to be stuck in one media, either your text or your photographer or your video. But now it's all storytelling, right? Combining all the different mediums. And if you can do it yourself, why not? Right? Just in terms of your work and making it like changing the narrative with Africa in terms of the environment, which is an issue that's at the forefront of the planet at the moment. How are you involved in this?
As much as we wanted to show people is a different Africa, because they already had the perception that Africa. So how do you teach them to live in Africa? You teach them through their environment. So we went to our environment that people saw as dirty, very crime. There's filled with crime. People can't live there. And we went to those environments. We dressed nice, and we shot ourselves in those environments because we celebrated the environment that we lived in. And then from there, people started to see the images and they started to see the beauty of not only us in the pictures, but the place that we are shooting in. Right. And from when people start to realize the beauty of where they come from, then they start to take care of the places in which they are from. So that's how we play that environment. And also, we are working with WWF on, like, we shot an awareness program that they wanted to shoot and talk about. So we collaborated with them and we shot it and we edited and we added the music for it.
I love that. Like in terms of like art needs to be at the forefront of people taking action and of climate change, not on the sidelines. Like where this is a crisis that the world is going through, but art needs to be at the forefront. So to help to make people change their perspectives. What do you think about this idea?
Totally agree, because art is communication and art captures history of time in a place, and it's the best way to document an era, and if art is in the forefront of all of everything, uh, as artists, as African artists, it shows our communication of what we are going through. I feel like Africa is very proud. Africa is happy that the world now knows who we are. They are listening to our voice, and our voice must be heard. And it's important that it's on the forefront of everything.
Okay, and what exciting projects are you involved in at the moment?
We fortunately won two big clients that are now like in our we are in their routine. That we can say, yeah. So we are now the creative and content agency for Super Dry, which is a fashion brand, and Diesel, and there is two more other brands that are coming through, which we cannot confirm yet.
Okay.
But yeah.
So essentially, it's like now we are, what Innocent said, like when we moved from being just a blog into being a company. So now what it is like, global brands have realized that, if you want to talk to Africa, you need to talk to them the way in which they talk.
Right.
You can't just do a global thing and then expect them to just follow it because it's global. No, we all have different nuances and ways of talking and how we see things. So now we are always like taking like what brands are doing and we localizing it and making sure it's, people are understanding it, and we shoot the people on the ground. Because you don't want to sell something with, if you're selling clothes and then you see someone from overseas. It's nice when you see someone where you come from and you know them, so it speaks better. So that's what we're doing now. We're taking like overseas brands, international brands, and then we're localizing them to the people.
Great, great. And do you collaborate a lot, like around the continent? Are you finding how is the industry in terms of us Africans working together now? Because before it was the outsiders coming in, and now if we're taking our narrative, it's our story we're telling. How are we working together? What's your experience?
Definitely, we're collaborating as in other young photographers, other young directors, to also help us tell this story and work with us in these brands and with our clients, because we can't obviously hold everything. Myself and Vuyo can't do everything, but we can direct the vision and bring in younger guys similar to us who had zero opportunity but talented, and we give them the platform to shine and work with us as I see a different you. And it's a beautiful space that we're in, because we are no longer just I see a different you, two cool guys. We bring in other guys to work with us to tell this story in a bigger way and in a global platform.
Yes, like in Kenya, we've got, too many siblings. There's so we work with them a lot. And then in Ghana, Nigeria, so every time we've got like a brief, we always like source people who are from there. So we'll fly to, like in Kenya when we shot Go TV.
Yeah.
So we went and we shot Go TV in Kenya. So we used the people around there, like cities.
Yeah, because it empowers everyone else, right, on the ground, right? So when you're doing your work, everyone else is coming along and we're moving together rather than some of us moving and then leaving everyone else behind, which has to change, the story. Exactly. And what do you think? Is there more that needs to be done in terms of how we tell our stories, in terms of how the world views Africa? Because I still think there's still more. I find, like, even when I go to Europe and places like that, like, when they see your hair, it's all cool, whatever, but their idea still of Africa, like, it's still not, hasn't completely flipped. There's still work to be done. What do you think?
I agree with you, because the Enlightenment started, like, it's not over 20 years where people are now getting to speak about and being proud of who they are as Africans. But we are well on our way there, because it's not, being African is not just a cool thing. It's a good and a bold statement to say, hey man, this is me, and my continent is amazing. Africa is dope. You need to check it out. It's like it's a free advert to be an African person as a positive thing, not as a negative thing. There is work to be done, but the way in which things are going, it's we are well on our way there, and the message is spreading accordingly and as fast as possible, And we're in a good place. It's growing and it's spreading nicely.
I think we are in a good space. I think we need to create more. Yeah. Because the more we create for ourselves, the more like people will start to understand and see us differently. Because if you create music, like you see in Nigeria, the Afrobeat, they did the Afrobeat, but they didn't do it for other people. They did it for themselves.
Yeah,
and then with like other people started falling in love with it. It's like if we create more of anything, whether it's film, it's technology, or let's just create for ourselves, for our problems, or for the things that we like, and then they'll catch on. Then when they catch on, they will change the perception for us, because we are doing it for ourselves. They'll just jump on later.
And as a protection also, because if you look at the world in general, like Africa is the last sort of frontier in terms of like environment, where we have the opportunity now to look at the mistakes that others have made and not repeat them, and protect what we have, so that we're not in a crisis point. So that's, I think, even more important why Africa needs to be in the narrative, and why we also need to start protecting, like owning our identities and our continent.
Yeah.
Africa! Haibuye!